Part of the reason why the opposition view is outdone is they don't think about things on different levels. They'll say things like, he's looking at it from a martial arts perspective. I'm looking at it from every perspective. In fact, let's look at it from your liberal, white kind of supremacy, computer nerd geek point of view. How many of you have heard of World of Warcraft? In World of Warcraft, you have two groups of people, and they represent the two types of white people, in my opinion. Okay, another way to look at it is it represents whites and non-whites who they see as subhuman. So the orcs have some human qualities. Now, who civilized who and who hid in caves like a bunch of trolls? I mean, we all know the Caucasus Mountains. We know it's mainstream history. Not a single white person on the planet who considers himself sane or who has a view that's accepted by the white mainstream would say otherwise. You were nomadic, barbaric, animalistic peoples. I'm related to you, I know. You know, the blacks were the more human type of people. We were the civilizers. Okay, you were in the cold. You're not even warm-blooded. How are you going to pretend a bunch of people from the ice came down and said, let's go hang out on the beach, you know? When white people can't stand the heat to this day. If you can't stand the heat, don't go to Egypt. You know, your ancestors saw it my way, to make a long story short. Anyway, until the foreign period, until their jealousy overcame them. So the orcs fight more like the UFC fighters. The humans fight with the principles that I fight with. Doesn't that represent higher intellect? Doesn't that represent Horus with his thinner build versus some savage, brute jackal? I mean, isn't this a no-brainer? I mean, how could you possibly sit there and pretend that MMA and UFC is not satanic? Blood pools for money? Blood sport? Blood money? You don't see the connection between that and blood diamonds? Really? Really? Wow. No, I didn't realize you non-blacks were so stupid. No offense. Maybe I should start somewhere else. Oh, in the comments, please, viewers, do you think they're too stupid to understand and I should start, slower and with more simple ideas? It's because how are you going to be the people who have one of the most popular video games in the world, whites and Asians together, and you're not going to lift a finger to argue that I'm right? When your movies, your video games, your culture, your own Bible that white people spread perhaps more than anyone else proves that I'm right? And how stupid is that? Nahum 3, 8 through 10. Their own video games. They're like, look, we understand being a little fat, ugly snake that kills baby, that eats eggs is just deplorable. Some of us know it's so deplorable. We're vegans. We're vegetarians. We don't even want to eat meat. We'll suck the white man's meat, to make feminists look good. That's what they say, right? But they don't want to eat meat. Because one thing we all have in common is we know that on some level we understand that it is sad to eat meat. Now, when you are eating human spirits to make your people look good, you are going to look really bad in hell forever. You think the universe doesn't punish you, the Buddhists? You Christians, you think God won't punish you for what you did to his tribe? Oh, that reminds me. Let's find the quote and let's wrap it up. How dare you pretend I'm not right when one of the most common video games played is World of Warcraft, where the orcs are stronger than the humans. Do any of you doubt the orcs are stronger than the humans? Do any of you doubt that the orcs' weapons reflect brute force attacks and the humans have more swords and things that slice you as opposed to big war hammers and axes? Okay? What do you think they're saying? They're saying that the noble Christian type of people fight in a noble manner. The pagan rabble fight in a savage manner. And in the ancient world, the Egyptians were the noble pharaohs. Osiris was the herder, the great herder of man, okay? He was the herder. That's why in my room, by one of my Anubis statues, I have Osiris and the heart, okay? He gave us his heart. He was the great herder. He gave us his heart. Balance the heart with a feather, not with an eagle's feather, with a hawk's feather. The Nechanite, right? Why? Because Osiris loved us. He held us in his arms with his heart, right? He loved us. He loved us enough to train until his arms hurt and made a cross. He loved us enough to hug us with his arms in a cross. He loved us enough to give us tough love with a crook and flail, to put the crooks in line and to flail those who whine. all the time for a reason that reflects darkness, not the sun that shines. How dare you sit there like I'm not right and then threaten me with explosives and gang members if I don't quote unquote change my perspective? Let me tell you something. You don't tell a Igbo prince from the Jewish faction of the Igbos that became Christians. Okay, we are the people that Jesus yearns to bring to God, and he yearns to use people like me. You don't interfere with God's plan, especially when Judah is doing it, and think that you or your family are going to heaven. Don't insult us, people of God. Don't insult God like that, please. Don't pretend you're going to heaven. Don't pretend that doing what you're doing allows for you to go to heaven. You unrepentant. Opposite of contrite. Opposite of sorry. Sniveling conformist. Selfish, shallow, worldly, materialistic, evil, cowardly, liar, groupie, groupthink, yuppie, do whatever the power structure says and tries to conform to media pushed expectations type of bitch. So when we see the movie The Greatest Story Ever Told, and Jesus says, my heart yearns to unite the lost children of Israel, what was he referring to, and did he say that? Well, let's look at Matthew 15, right? Matthew 15:24 with the Canaanite woman. Remember, the white Jews are not all Jews. Some of them are just related to Jews. They're Canaanites, and things like this, right? There's a lot of people who were displaced when black Jews left Egypt. And some of them were jealous and wanted to take our place. That's why there's the 6 and the 9. Beware of the fake Jews who are really of the synagogue of Satan. In Matthew 15:24, for example, the New International Version says, he answered, I was sent only to the lost sheep of Israel. Now you're going to hear a lot of communist liberal preachers lie about the meaning of this. But I promise you, what he was getting at is that we are above you. And he is from my tribe. There is a divine order, and I am above you. You have no right to chastise me in the name of God as a Japhetian. That's one thing that a lot of these Christians got wrong, okay? When you work with the government and you gang stalk somebody for teaching the true gospel when he's from Judah, there's no way you're going to heaven. There's no making it up to him, especially when he's going to die soon because a bunch of racists are threatening to blow him up and poison him and all kinds of, and plant evidence and all kinds of shit, right? How are you going to make it up to me? You betrayed God. You could bring the entire world to Christianity and cry about it every day. And if you made it to heaven, you'll always be that guy who betrayed the Lion of Judah of our generation. Not the Lion of Judah. We'll say the Lion of our generation. Not a prophet, Messiah, but definitely closer to God. I am an Igbo prince. If Jesus was sent to the lost sheep of Israel because there is a Mayat, how the fuck do you think he feels about you doing this to me? After all my dad has done for society, after all I've done to bring you to the truth, how do you think he feels about you stabbing me in the back in the night using the harlot and the white? How do you think he feels? Oh, you will burn, I assure you. For those of you pretending like a bunch of rapist bikers who go to jail for rape and drug trafficking are tougher than us, that's a joke, man. Especially here in Northern California, it's the funniest thing I ever heard. Can you imagine the Aryan Brotherhood trying to catch a fade with 50% of San Quentin, almost, which is black? What happens when we outnumber them 2-1? Yeah, it's like, shut up, man, come on. We all know that we're the killers. Baltimore, D.C., we're the killers. There's tons of you idiots. You never do shit but rape little kids and drink goat piss. Matter of fact, play this shit. Money, controversy. They dirty and nerdy like white boys. I mean, come on, cuz. Come on, you got your own people singing this shit. There have been white people and white women singing this song, man. Your own people know you're bitch. Ask a white crip if this isn't true. Money, controversy. They dirty and nerdy like white boys. And we don't have a bunch of money to pay them off. We're not paying them to say this like you're paying house niggas, man. We just tell the truth, man. Y'all dirty and nerdy. I don't take any non-black martial artist seriously. And I don't take any martial artist who doesn't accept my challenge, who wants to weigh in a way that I don't agree with, Who are you? Did you beat over 100 people? Have you done this for 20 years? Or are you just some dirty, nerdy, whitewashed fucking, this is referring to every gang stalker. Because what they're doing is Roman culture. Therefore, you are whitewashed. Regardless of your skin color, you're a white boy. Like Jacob Rothschild pretending to be a Jew. You're not a Jew, you're white. Like Eminem pretending to be a black rapper from Detroit or something. You're not black, you're white. Vanilla Ice, you're white. Okay, all those Greeks who went to Egypt and made Serapis, and the Hellenization and made him look like a fucking, a Greek homosexual, and then later on made him look like an Aryan when the Vikings were brought into the hustle. It made him look like a Viking mixed with a Greek and a Roman, right? Okay? We all know that you are wannabe motherfuckers. The white man is a wigger. Okay, and then there's like 1% of whites who realizes that I'm right, that will stop at nothing to separate whites from black culture. The rest of you are fucking wiggers that should have given me my props. And that 1%, they're too racist to give me my props, and they hit like a bitch, so help me God, for my challenge too. And it warms my heart like you wouldn't believe to know I had your whole race hiding from my mind, body, soul challenge while you carry on about how you're superior. You inferior cowards. They dirty and nerdy like white boys, so I don't take any other martial artists seriously. They know damn well, cuz, look, they know damn well, cuz, they get put away like fucking toys. Okay, you can't strike me first. I would cut out your fucking heart. I would scoop out your eyes. Okay, you're dirty and nerdy like white boys. You don't even know anything. You're not a brain surgeon, son. You're not surgical. You're nowhere near as fast as I am. You are an out of shape, presentation loving, trickery using, treachery using, falsification and fabrication using dog. The only thing you apply is bullshit. You dirty, nerdy, sniveling, wannabe martial artists will always be rapist scum that fight like cops. You fight like police officers. And so police officers and military and rapists who want to brag about how they can rape people in different positions, and cops who want to brag about how they take blacks to the ground and beat them up with other cops making sure they have the upper hand, will never ever win the respect of the most righteous martial artists in the black community. So help me God, we will always resist. And anyone who does not take my side is not a real African martial artist, is he? He's a Greek little bitch, and he may as well roll on the ground in a thong for gays in Hollywood. Capiche?